Hi besties, what's up? My name is Makenzie and welcome to my channel and welcome to another day of Bookmas. Now, I'm really praying that you're gonna see this before Bookmas ends, but if you don't, I apologize. I was kind of knocked off my horse for about a week there. I couldn't edit. Looking at screens was making me motion sick. I mean, I was pushing past it to look at my phone, but I literally could not edit. It was making me sick. So I apologize for that. But today, as you guys saw from the title and the thumbnail, we are going to be talking about the 26 books that my husband chose for me to read in 2026. Now, just in the sake of transparency, I did veto a couple of the books that he wanted me to read. So I kind of wanted to talk about those books with you first. He chose Kingdom of the Wicked, the last book in the Maze Runner series, and then Queen of Shadows and Assassin's Blade. Now, Queen of Shadows and Assassin's Blade, obviously they're in the same series. That's book 1 or book 3, depending on how you read them, and book 6 in the series. Is it book 6 or book 5? Anyway, regardless, I am currently rereading Assassin's Blade with my friend Courtney, and we're doing a buddy read. Obviously, we are about halfway through that book, so I figured it wasn't fair to let him choose that one. And then Queen of Shadows, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I know that we are not gonna get to Queen of Shadows this year. I think that if all the stars align, we might be able to finish Assassin's Blade and then read all of book 1 and maybe part of book 2, but it's kind of up in the air. We read very few chapters of all the books we're buddy reading every month. So I figured that it wasn't fair for him to put Queen of Shadows on there when I know that I'm not going to get to that this year. Then the last book of the Maze Runner series, I'm not going to put myself through 3 of the 4 books just to read the 4th book. I'm sorry. And then the Kingdom of the Wicked series, I have read the first book. I have not read the second 2, but I do need to reread the first book before I get to the second 2. I could have pointed him in the direction of the second book, but I didn't feel like that was fair. I feel like there were also a couple more that I may have vetoed that were also books that I had read before, and I think he really wanted to choose books that I hadn't read, so I let him know and he re-chose. But I will be honest, you guys are gonna kind of see a pattern for the first few books that we're gonna talk about. And I do want to mention, my husband knows nothing about books. He does not care about them. He does not read. He doesn't like to read, so he knows nothing about these books. He just said that he liked the covers, which is totally fair. That's how I figured he would choose them anyway. So and then also sorry, the reason that I had him choose my 2026 TBR was because 26 is his favorite number, and I just thought it would be fun. Really, I just thought it would be fun. So throughout this video, since I don't really have reasons why I would pick the books, I am instead going to tell you what I would have done differently with this TBR, because I feel like this is a very good bare bones TBR, right? The problem is he picked 26 books, right? I actually have to read 33 books to get to all of these books, and I feel like that's fine. It's a lot. So without further ado, let's just get into the first section of books. These books are ones that I definitely don't think I would have put on my 2026 TBR, and I'll give you reasons as to why that is. Not saying that they're bad picks, just saying that they're picks that I maybe wouldn't have necessarily chosen myself. So first book, The Last Magician by Lisa Maxwell. I can tell that he's behind on my videos because I was actually gonna read this in December. This is a reread for me, and typically I do not put a ton of rereads or any rereads at all on my 2026 TBRs or yearly TBRs in general, but I figured that it was fine that he put this on here because I do need to reread this in order to read the second book, and my goal is to read the second book by the end of 2026, or else I have to unhaul the whole series. So I figured that it was fine that he put this on here. I'm really excited to reread it. I feel like it's going to be reading it for the first time adjacent, so I'm really excited about this one. I had already vetoed all of the books that I had mentioned, so when he picked this, I was like, okay, fine. It's not that big of a deal. I needed to reread it anyways, so I'm just gonna hold off my reread until January, or at least hold off finishing it in January. But I don't know how many more books we're gonna get to this year, besties. I'm feeling so just I don't want to call burnt out with life right now, but I'm just over 2026. I feel like December always goes by so slow, and that's not necessarily a jab or anything, but tell me how it's 50 degrees here still where I live. I don't want it to be 50 degrees. We usually have white Christmases, and we aren't gonna get that this year, so that kind of sucks. But anyways, next we have Leave Me Behind by K.M. Moranova. He did not actually see this. The dust jacket was not on it. He saw this, so it makes sense why he chose this. I don't want to put the stereotype out there, but I do think that some of these covers that he saw, he was like, that looks like it has spice in it, and that might give her ideas, so I'm gonna choose that. I'm not saying that is a bad thing. I'm just saying that I can see him thinking that. So, the reason I wouldn't have chosen this, and along with the next book, we'll go over that. I've started this book. already. It's actually one that I'm buddy reading with my friend Courtney. Now, again, with the buddy reading with Courtney. The other one that I'm going to mention, also buddy read with her. But I obviously wouldn't have chosen this because I hope that we finish these 2 books this year. It's kind of up in the air because we're buddy reading so much at this point that I'm not even sure if we will. But I wouldn't have chosen this because, I mean, obviously, like, I've already started it. I wouldn't think that that's fair. I feel like that's kind of cheating. But I mean, we read 2 chapters a month of each of these books. I don't think it's that big of a deal. It'll be fine. And then we have Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent, a book that I've started. I think I'm about 5 chapters into this book. I can't remember at this point, but I am really liking this. I'm really excited that he chose this. This is the new cover, by the way, and I really love the new covers. I feel like that's like very unpopular, but I don't know. I love the covers, and I also love this. I'm glad that that's the same, but I don't know. I'm glad that you chose these. Like I said, I'm not that far into them. We aren't going to finish them until probably the end of 2026, so I figured that was okay. All right. Okay. This next section, you'll see what I mean by this, but in this next section, we are talking about half of these books I have to read before the other half, or else I cannot read the other half. You'll see what I mean. Okay, so first we have The False Start and The Front Runner and A False Start, both by Elsie Silver. These are book 3 and 4 in the Gold Rush Ranch series. Go me. And I love these covers. First of all, I'm actually kind of like, not to put him in like a stereotype bubble, but these are like really cutesy girly, in my opinion, books. So I'm really surprised that he chose them. But obviously these ones kind of don't count because, you know, you can kind of read interconnected standalones whenever you want to. But this was the first set of books that I saw that I was like, oh, that's 2 books in the same series. I love Elsie Silver. I don't know if he clocked it when he like picked these, but I actually have the Fairy Loot editions of the, oh my gosh, what is it called? That's embarrassing. It's like one of my favorite series ever. I have Flawless over there, but I have, I basically have them displayed in my room, and I don't know if he realized that that is the same author as these, but I love these. These are the UK editions. I'm really happy that I bought them. I'm so excited to read these. So I'm glad that he chose these. Now we're getting into series that I do unfortunately have to read one book before the other, which is totally fine. Not a big deal. Like I said, I could have vetoed any of these, but I didn't want to. I wanted this to be as true to what he chose as it could possibly be. So next we have The Echoed Realm and The Hollow Gods, which I actually think that this is the first book. I'm not so sure, but these are by AJ Reyna, and I'm very excited about these. These were actually BookBox exclusive editions by Luna and Lore. I love Luna and Lore. They do, I think it's a quarterly subscription, and they always do 2 books at least in their boxes, and they're really cool. I really like these. Like I said, maybe I can show you. Here are the edges, and then I can show you these. Now, I will say, I was so ecstatic when I saw that he picked The Hollow Gods. Like I said, I think that that's the first book in the series. I could be wrong. But I was so excited to see that because I wanted to read these. I don't remember what they're about at this point, but I wanted to read them ever since I got them, and I haven't gotten around to them. So I love these covers. I'm really excited that he chose these. Now, the reason, I should probably say this, right? The reason that I wouldn't necessarily choose 2 books on the same TBR for a yearly TBR in particular is because what if I hate the first book and then I don't want to read the second book? Then it kind of leaves me in an awkward position as to like if I'm actually going to finish the series or not. So usually I'm kind of a completionist with series depending on the situation, so I probably don't have to be that worried about it, but that is something that I would keep in the back of my mind if I was choosing a yearly TBR, especially one to this magnitude. If it was like, if he chose like 10 or 12 books for me to read, then that would be one thing, but like, I don't know, 26 books where a quarter of them I can't read until I read the book before it is kind of crazy. Then we have A Kinder Poison and The Cruelest Mercy. Now, I don't know which order these books are gonna, or the videos are gonna come out in, but I believe The Kinder Poison was actually on my self-destructing books. Now, I will say I don't think that Steven has watched any of my videos that I posted recently, so he wouldn't know that. And even if he did, I don't know that he would really remember. I'm not saying that as a slight to him. I'm just saying that in general. Like, I just don't think he would remember. So I'm intrigued to read these. These were definitely cover buys. I love these covers. I've never heard anybody talk about them, but I'm excited to give them a try. These were also books much like the Last Magician series, that if I didn't get to these this year, I was gonna unhaul them. So I'm excited that he chose these as well. Okay, these are the ones that I'm most worried about. I'm not gonna lie to you. Now, Kiera Cass, one of my favorite authors of all time. I love the Selection series. Would I recommend, if you don't have a nostalgic taste for the series, to read it for the first time? Probably not, but I do love that series. And I bought these books right after I read those, and I was so excited to read them, and then I just never got around to reading them. So we have The Betrothed and The Betrayed by Kiera Cass, and dude, I can see why he chose these covers. They're so shiny and sparkly, and they're beautiful. I love these. I love these. So, again, with this one, I'm really worried because people don't like The Betrothed. And I think that a bunch of people actually DNF the series after they read The Betrothed. So even though Kiera Cass is one of my favorite authors, and I have nothing bad to say about any of her books, I am really worried about these books, but I am excited to read them nonetheless. All right. Okay. Let's get into the next part of the stack that I am kind of working on. So we have Realm Breaker by Victoria Aveyard. This is also a book that in the back of my mind I was going to unhaul if I did not read by the end of 2026. I don't think I put it on my self-destructing books. I could be wrong, but I'm glad that he chose this for me. I'm very intimidated by this. I don't think he clocked this either, but obviously this is the same author as Red Queen, and he bought the Red Queen books for me. So I'm glad that he chose this. I'm really excited about this. I have tried to read it a couple times and I couldn't really get into it, but I do have to read this now in 2026. I have to finish this TBR if I'm making him choose it, I think. So I have that. Okay, next. I have the second book in a series that I haven't started yet. These Infinite Threads by Tahara Mafi. Yeah, this is book 2. It says that right there. So I have not read This Woven Kingdom, and I thought they were sitting together. Maybe this was like on display on my bottom shelf by accident, because I think it probably fell down and I put it there, but I am very excited to read this series. I've heard nothing but good things. One of my friends is reading it right now, and she like inhaled the first 3 books. She loves them. So I'm very excited to read them, but I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I am very nervous to have 2, because basically that is +1 to the TBR, right? So I'm hoping that I love This Woven Kingdom. I know technically I could probably switch it out for the book that I need to read, but I'm not going to do that because 2026 is the year of challenging my reading. So I say that now. We'll get into it after this book. Next, we have The Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. I'm so excited to read this. I'm glad that he chose this. I have been putting this book off for far too long. In fact, you guys, I think that this might be the book that has been on my Goodreads TBR for the longest. So I'm really glad that he chose this. I know that I'm going to love this book. I'm just so nervous to read it. I'm so nervous. So I'm hopeful that I can get to this and maybe the second book as well. But we're going to slow our roll on that train of thought right now. But I'm really excited to read this. All right. So next we're going to talk about a book, and when you guys see this book, you're going to be like, Makenzie, you're being really dumb when you say what you're going to say about it, but we have the second book in the Wheel of Time series. Now, you may be like, Makenzie, you've read the first book of this series? No, I have not. So, mic drop for me. I really should have mentioned this because the first book is gigantic. This book is pretty big too. Little does he know, this is getting me into like a 13-book series, and I was gonna buy them as I was reading them. So this has 667 pages, and I think the first book has like 500 to 600 pages as well. So I'm really nervous about that too. But I have been meaning to start this series. I'm really excited to start it. I'm really hopeful that I'll like it. And duh, does this not look like the most manly cover ever? Like, no wonder why he chose this one. Like I said, like some of these books, I'm surprised. Like also The Betrothed and The Betrayed. Does that just not give like teen girl vibes? Not saying that in a negative way, just like, I'm just surprised that he chose that. But I'm nervous about this. You guys, I'm so relieved. Actually, I know why he didn't choose Game of Thrones. It's because it's in my unhaul box, because I want to buy the new set that they came out with. But I'm very nervous about the series. I've wanted to do a series reading vlog a series of reading vlogs, I guess, for the series. So if you guys are interested in that, it looks like I'm going to be starting that next year. So we have that. Sorry, those are in frame, and I just know that people's eyes are twitching because mine are too. So that is, this is what I'm most intimidated by. This is why I feel like I'm like kind of screwed with this TBR, but it's fine. Also, now that we're halfway through, my friend Amity actually did mention that it might be fun for me to put the 26 books that I chose, or that I would have chosen for my TBR, and 26 books that he chose, and like do a spinner wheel. But I made him choose them, and I know he literally would not give a flying flip about it, but I would feel really bad if I made him choose them and then went through all that trouble of being like, no, you can't choose that one, no, you can't choose that one, to then be like, okay, well, most of the books that you chose didn't make it. So that's why I'm not doing that. But I do still want to read all the 26 books that I wanted to read next year too. So that's 52 books. 58 books actually, with the other 6 that I need to read from this. But anyway, I think I'm being a little bit too big for my pants right now, but it is what it is. So next, we have a very exciting one. We have Flame and Sparrow by S.M. Gaither. This is a beautiful edition that I got from her Etsy, I think it was, and I'm so excited to read this. I've heard nothing but great things about this, so yeah, I'm definitely gonna be reading this. Again, with the big books, I think he wanted me to die next year, actually. I know he's been saying he wants another kid, but I'm actually pretty sure that he wants me to die with all these huge books that he's choosing. But I'm very excited about this one. It looks like this one is a little over 670 pages, so thank you, Stephen, for that one. But I'm very excited about this. I've heard nothing but good things about this, and if I like this, I think, okay, I have her whole other series that she's written. I believe they're in the same world. I'm gonna read this one first, and then if I like that, I'm going, since this is her more popular book, I will go back and read her other series. That's another goal. I really need to read those books before the end of next year too. I feel like my goals are a little bit too big right now. Next we have A Torch in the Night, which is the second book in the Ember in the Ashes series. I love An Ember in the Ashes. I need to reread it before I read this, but I don't think that's gonna be too bad. These books are really fast reads. I really love An Ember in the Ashes, so I'm excited to reread that. I think these are from Fairy Loot, if I'm not mistaken. So I love these. I'm really glad that he chose this, actually. Like, when I saw that, I was like, yes. I'm so glad that you did that. Next, we have Lightbringer. So me and this series have a very interesting backstory. I won't get into it too much, but basically, I read the first book a few years ago, really loved it, reread it, did not like it, but then I reread it again and I really liked it the third time that I read it. So I went on to the second book. I got 200 pages into the second book and I put it down and I never picked it back up, even though I love the second book. So to read this book, I'm probably gonna reread Furyborn, and I'm going to have to read Kingsbane as well. So I'm very intimidated by that, but this was another series that I really wanted to read, so I'm happy about that. I'm just so scared because I think I know what happens at the end of the second book. Do not spoil me, but I think I know what happens at the end of the second book, and I just cannot bear to see that, to be honest. I need to know how many pages are in this book. 572. Cool. So I'm going to be reading this one as well. I'm so excited about that. I want to read so many of Claire Legrand's other books, but I feel like I cannot keep adding them to my physical TBR if I cannot at least read the first book series that I bought by her. So actually, and fun fact, I think Kingsbane was actually like either the first or second book that I pre-ordered. If Kingsbane came out before Kingdom of Ash, that was the first book that I pre-ordered. If not, then it was the second book. So very excited to read those. Next, another book that I'm really excited about, Keeping 13 by Chloe Walsh. I have not read Binding 13. No, I have not. So I'm very excited to read this. Obviously, I have to read Binding 13 first, but I don't think that's going to be a big deal. Another book, another book series that I really wanted to do reading vlogs on. So I'm really excited about this. This is also another big one. I believe that, if I'm not mistaken, I think that the first 2 books together are like 1,200 pages, which not horrible, okay? Not horrible. Crazy, but not horrible. So I'm excited to read this. I think it's going to be so good. Like, I'm just so excited. So we have that. So that adds another book to the TBR. And obviously, Lightbringer kind of adds 2 books to the TBR because I really should reread Furyborn. Okay, if you guys can hear my heater, I'm going to try to talk a little bit louder than that. I've been trying to talk quiet because my toddler is asleep and I don't want to wake her up right now. So I'll try to talk a little bit louder so you guys can't hear that. I already turned off one heat source. I cannot shut off both of them, okay? Sorry. Next, we have Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. So mad that I didn't get to it in 2025, but now I'm gonna get to it in 2026. So I'm very excited about this one too. I think that I'm really gonna like this. And if I read this, I think I'm gonna buy a couple more Ali Hazelwood books. So I need to get to this ASAP at the beginning of the year. Next, we have another one that I'm very excited about that I apparently tore the cover of, Empire of the Vampire by J. Kristoff. I don't know how I managed to do that one, but that's okay. Look how floppy. I think that, actually, sorry, not to go off on a tangent, I doubt that a bunch of people are still here, but, okay, I don't know where I put it. It was just right here. But I think that this and the, oh, it's right in front of me. Look at that. That's freaking wild, dude. I love that for me. J. Kristoff, one of my favorite authors of all time. He wrote the Nevernight trilogy. I love that trilogy. I need to reread that next year too, but I'm very excited to read this. I'm surprised Steven chose a book with a shirtless man on the cover, but I'm assuming that looking at this cover, he kind of knew that it was not going to be a schmexy book, if you catch my drift. So I'm really excited to read this. Again, another book that's been on my TBR since it's come out. Like, I'm pretty sure that I bought it. I actually, if you can even believe it, I started annotating it when I was reading it. I was really liking it. I just never got around to continue on with it. So we're gonna be reading it next year. I'm really excited about it. I think the third book just came out actually, so it might be perfect timing if I decide to binge read the series. Maybe the third book will be out in paperback in the US by the time I get to finishing that. I'm sorry, my throat is dry. Okay, next we have Unholy Terrors by Lindell Clipstone. Very excited about this. I love Lindell Clipstone. She wrote this series. I can't remember what it's called right now, but I love that series so much. I really want to reread that too. I have no idea how 2026 is gonna go, but I feel like I'm saying that I want to reread a lot of books right now. But I'm so excited about this. I love this cover. It's about werewolves. I just love werewolves, so I'm very excited about that. It also has the embossed front, if you can kind of see that. So excited about this. This was actually one that he chose after I vetoed another one, so I'm glad that he chose it. That was a good choice. I've been meaning to get to it. I've just been putting it off. So next, this is another one that's gonna add like a significant amount of books to my 2026 TBR, which is not a bad thing necessarily, because I know that I can read this author's books fast, but I actually never considered that I would need to count up the books that I need to read by her before I read this one. But Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. I love this cover. Snaps for Steven, like, yes, glad he picked this one too. So this means that I really need to get on my Abby Jimenez train again, and I need to continue on with my reading vlogs of her books. I think I dreamt of reading one of her books last night, so maybe that's a sign that I need to continue on with that vlog. But I'm very excited about this one nonetheless too. I think that this is going to be really good. I'm really excited about this. Be expecting a vlog for that book next year. Maybe I can like catch up on all of Abby Jimenez's published books by the time her new book comes out next year. Then I can do like a little double feature for that vlog. That'd be really fun. Next we have Wrath Goddess Sing by Maya Deanne. Again, another one that I've been so excited to read. I just have not made the time for it. Sounds like I'm making the time for it this year. I believe this is Greek mythology, and I'm really excited about it. I've heard really good things about it. I think it's gonna be phenomenal. We are to the last two books, my friends. Last two books. Oh. We have one that I am very intimidated by. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm very intimidated by this book. There's no reason I should be, but I am. Kingdom of Copper by S.A. Chakraborty. Now, I read City of Brass, and I loved that book. I do need to reread it before I read this, but I think I read that book pretty quick when I read it for the first time, so I'm excited to reread that and get into this. I loved the first book, you guys. I think about that book all the time, and I read it a long time ago. I can't remember if I was married when I read it or if I wasn't married, but either way, it was a long time ago. So I'm really excited to get to this. I think this is gonna be so good. So even though that adds another book past the 26 books on my TBR to read again, maybe I can start my reread this year. That might be a good idea. I just need to find City of Brass before I do that. And then last but not least, another one that I'm actually kind of shocked that he was like intrigued by, that he liked the cover of. We have Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. I'm so excited to read this. I've been meaning to read it, and I've been putting it off, and I've been putting it off, and I've been putting it off, and I haven't done it. But this is the year, you guys. This is the year that I'm going to read this. So I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited about that. I need to do like an R.F. Kuang catch-up vlog. If you guys are interested in that, I really need to read the Poppy War trilogy. Obviously, like, this book is not adding anything to my 2026 TBR, but I've been dying to reread the Poppy War trilogy, at least the first two books, so I can read The Burning God. I'm also like, I'm sorry to go off on tangents so much, but I'm intimidated because The Dragon Republic, the second book in that series, is literally the perfect book in my eyes. And I recently in 2024 I think, I recently reread a book that I loved. It was one of my favorites of all time. I reread it and I still liked it, but it wasn't like my favorite. And if I read, not to be dramatic, if I reread The Dragon Republic, and I do not think it is a perfect book the second time around. I'm probably gonna have to jump out my window. It's not that high, but I could probably break an ankle, you know? You feel me? I'd be so sad. So if you guys want me to do like an R.F. Kwong catch-up vlog, I would be more than happy to do that. I think that'd be really fun. So I'm so glad he chose this. You guys, I'm not gonna lie, even though I'm like heavily intimidated by this TBR, I am so excited to get into these books. I think that they're gonna be phenomenal. I just have a really good feeling about my reading year in 2026. You know, I want to read a ton of books, so I'm glad that he kind of chose like a good wide range of like page counts. I say that, but you know, he did. He chose a pretty good range of like average length books and longer books. So I'm really glad that he did that. Thank you to Steven for choosing my TBR. I love him so much. I don't talk about Steven that often on my channel. He didn't want to be in this video, and it's no offense to you guys. He doesn't want to be on the channel, I don't think. So I really appreciate him choosing this TBR for him. Or for me. He's not reading these books, I'm reading these books. But I really love him, and I appreciate him, and you know, all that he does for me and my daughter. It's not lost on me that without him I would be lost, so I really appreciate him. I don't know if he's gonna watch the video, but I think it'd be really funny for you guys to say hi to Steven not in the description. You guys are not editing the description. You guys said hi Steven in the comments. I think that'd be really funny, but like I said, I love that man so much with every fiber of my being, and I really appreciate that even though he does not like to read and he does not understand my passion and my hobby for books, that he goes along with it. You know, not to get sappy at the end of this video, but he is the only one who has like, I'm not saying he doesn't take the piss out of me, okay, but like there are people in my life who have made fun of me for talking to a camera, for always talking to myself, for wanting to talk about books with people who don't understand my hobby, that make fun of me a little bit. And you know, again, I'm not, and it's like in a negative, mean way, right? And Stephen Moore makes a joke about how all my books would be good fire starters. But you know, I appreciate him because he's very supportive, and even though I don't think he's caught up on my videos right now because I don't like him to watch them when I'm around, he's usually watching my videos in the living room when I'm there, and I just like I genuinely appreciate him. You know, we're actually coming up on 8 years being together. Kind of crazy. And I really love him, and I really appreciate him. And he obviously didn't need to choose my TBR for me to say this about him, okay? He doesn't know I'm saying this, but I love him and I appreciate him. And yeah, so, and now that we're done with all that sappiness, if you've made it this far into the video, leave like a little like writing emoji and the eyes and a yellow heart. And with all of that, I will see you cuties in the next one. If you like me, if you like seeing my face, go ahead and hit the like button. If you want to see my face again, hit the subscribe button. And if you want to be notified every time I post a new video, honestly, follow me on Instagram. That's where you're going to get all the first updates. If you don't have an Instagram, cross your fingers, hope the notification bell works. And with all that being said, I will see you guys in the next one very, very soon. Bye, everyone.
When you're not here, the sun don't shine. When you're not near, I don't feel like I do when you're